I've grabbed David Shing here from AOL. You were the keynote speaker this morning. What did you talk about?
Look, I decided to kick off the day talking about the next big things, really. So do a sort of 360 of the total landscape to see what's going on.
What are the next big things?
Look, I think, wow, how do I sum it up quickly? There's a couple of things that are really important in my mind. One is, curated experiences, so a nicheness. So because we're bombarded by so much media, a la today, so much media, we're trying to skinny it down to really niche areas so we can actually focus our time to discover. So discovery is another one. So discovery and niche. The other thing that's really important is that, the power of social is important, but we need to do a check on social as well, just to make sure it's not about numbers. We're not 11 years old. It's not a popularity contest. It's about influence. So, making sure that people understand that it's not about getting 1 million views or 1 million likes. It's more about making sure people will share it and people will pass it around and talk about your brand in the stream of their social consciousness. And in the future, we're going to see a lot more things around context. I think that's the new social, really, which is if we know that, and it's going to be around mobile context, because we know where people are, we know we're aware of what they're doing, and ultimately we want to be able to market to them better. So that's something that I think is better.
And does context take in what their activities are, what their likes or their habits are, or how does that translate?
So context is, there's street context. There's one, awareness is when somebody's in front of the mobile, we know what they're doing just simply because of the gestures or the way that they're swiping the screen, and there's some ways you can predict that. The second thing is, so that's one thing. The second thing is really the data. Everyone loves to talk about data and how we can scour data. Well, there's lots of data in mobile. Because people are sort of ring-fenced and they're in a particular location, that data is really important, and it's more important because when they're bound to a desktop, they could be doing different things for different need states. When I'm on a desktop, I could go from banking to shopping to casual surfing. When I'm on a handset, it's a different type of discovery. So I think, when it comes to catering for that audience, it's going to be very different moving forward. It's going to be really different because those three things. We have the context that they're in, we have the awareness of what they're looking for, and then we have the data that actually helps us create better experiences.
And is the phone everything? Is the phone going to be the centre of how people interact on the web? I mean, or is that over-talked?
No, I'm glad you asked. Well, there's two things I'd say. One of the slides I had up this morning is let's not call it the second or third screen, which is what people do today. That's absolutely rubbish. In my mind, it's a first screen. Everyone's carrying around a 3-inch device, mobile phone. There's nobody walked in that show this morning carrying a television. So the reality is, yes, it's going to be about mobile, but I don't actually think it's about mobile, really. It's about multiple screens. So it's about what people are doing in the context of what screen they're in at the time. So if I'm sitting in front of a desktop, or I'm sitting in front of an interactive TV, or I'm sitting in front of a mobile, that is my first screen at that time. But for the sake of what we need to context, make it to contextual today, I'd like to consider it the first screen, not the second. But it's very important. Mobile is extremely important, and I think it's undervalued. I think marketing spend globally is around 10%. I mean, it's really tiny, and part of that is it's at its infancy, and we don't know quite what we want to do in the marketing experience yet. So we're still trying to figure out the best ways to market. What we shouldn't do is, we shouldn't go and put up banners and things that we typically do. We should make it more experiential because it's a new format.
So we're only at the beginning of this, really. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we're at its infancy. Well, digital as an industry has only been around sort of 15 years, really, in the form that we know it today. Mobile's far less than that. So given it's the case, in my mind, it's the best time to be in digital because there's so much fragmentation, so much going on. Now's a very exciting time because we haven't figured it out as much as we'd like to think we haven't.